Good evening, everybody. I'm going to mute everybody's microphone right now. Can't hear me for some reason. Okay, if we can get through this technically, this will be a great thing. With so many people. So thanks everybody for joining us and welcome to our weekly virtual series, Women on Wednesdays. Whether you are watching on Crowdcast or on Facebook Live, we are glad that you could join us this evening. So to those of you new to our events, WPI is a nonprofit and nonpartisan institute in AU's School of Public Affairs that aims to close the gender gap in political leadership. And we offer academic and practical campaign training and research and discussions like this, women in politics. So with less than a week until the election, we wanted to focus on the importance of women voting and actively engaging in the political process. And there's a terrific new documentary film that focuses on just that. It's called Resisterhood, and it examines the power of women, hope, and resistance in modern American politics. And we're super excited to have with us the producer and director of the film, CJ Crim, and three of the several inspirational women activists that she spotlights in the film. Joanna Lohman is women's soccer fans will probably recognize her from her many years with the Washington Spirit and the U.S. women's national team. Today, she is a professional speaker, human rights activist, and a sports diplomat, which sounds like a really fun job. Mimi Hassanin is from Egypt and became an American citizen in 1971. She is the grandmother of 15 and says the most exciting day of her life was seeing her name on the ballot. And today she represents the Montgomery County Democratic Central Committee. And Margaret Morrison is a retired public school educator and civil rights activist who got her start marching alongside John Lewis and Martin Luther King Jr. from Selma to Montgomery. And today, she says she has been to 90% of the marches in DC and, quote, will be a political activist until the day I die, she says. So thank you all for being here. Before we start, I want to let you all know that we're going to save some time for questions. So if you have a question for any of our panelists, please go to the bottom of the screen, the Ask the Question tab, and you'll be able to type your question in there, and you can also upvote other people's questions that you might be interested in. And if you miss any of this discussion or you want to share it with friends, the replay will be available at the same link that you used to register for the event. So welcome to all of you. Thanks for being here. CJ, I want to start with you to give us an overview of the film. We have a couple of clips that we're going to show throughout our discussion, and then we're going to speak a little bit more to Joanna, Mimi, and Margaret, but I want to start with you first. The name of the film, Resisterhood, really says it perfectly. But tell us about the arc of the film, from the Women's March, the midterm elections, and then you have a postscript about the last terrible few months that we've all lived through. But tell us why you made the film and what you hope viewers will take away from it. Hold on, let me undo your mic. There we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, there you go. All right. This will be, well, this is like a mini documentary experiment tonight. We have to follow how things are going, whether our technology is working or not, and we'll just make whatever happens will happen, and we'll follow the story. Yes, Resisterhood. It is kind of all in the title. It is a sisterhood of women resisting the results really of the 2016 election. And you know, when you think back on it, women were really engaged by the fact that Trump won, and it wasn't because the first woman lost, the first woman candidate from a major party lost. Mm-hmm. It was because of the way that the candidate who won, because he ran on divisive, you know, othering, kind of trying to pit people against each other. And I think that really offended women in this country more than anything. And that's why the Women's March came about. And it came about very, very quickly. I had decided that as a filmmaker, I wanted to document what was happening. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to take it from the perspective of women. So when the Women's March came about, that was really an opportunity to say, let's find some diverse women and everyday women and follow how they are going to react to what's happening in this country. And so that was basically the catalyst for the documentary.
And how did you find them?
That, yeah, we found, well, I would have to say a lot of really, really good luck.
Yeah.
Because if you see the film, you know how spectacular the subjects are. And we didn't really have a lot of time. The Women's March went from an idea on Facebook, I think, to
right.
hundreds of thousands of people on the streets in like a month.
Right.
And so we just started, I was working with somebody, we just started asking everybody and, you know, trying to find people to represent the groups that we thought had been particularly called out by Trump when he was a candidate. And so we found everybody in a little bit different way. Joanna, we found on a zip line course, 60 feet in the air. Mimi, somebody told me, oh, Mimi will be a great person to tell you a good Muslim woman to follow. Well, it only takes a few minutes with Mimi to know Mimi is a Muslim woman to follow. And I knew her through our museum in the town where I live. And oh gosh, Margaret, she was actually the aunt of someone who worked at the school my kids went to. And so it was just talking to people.
Yeah.
And Congressman Gutierrez and his wife, I found on Facebook. I was watching on Facebook and the Congressman Gutierrez was the first congressman to say he wasn't going to the inauguration. And so there was this little clip from C-SPAN where he's on the floor of the House. And he said, I told my wife I'm not going to that man's inauguration. I'm coming home to Chicago. And she said, oh, no, you're not. We're going to be in Washington. We're going to the Women's March. So I thought, I want that couple. And
so great throughout the film. He gave you a lot of access and time, which was terrific.
Yes, they were all very, very generous. I don't think they knew what they were signing up for. They didn't think I was going to be following them with a camera for over 2 years. But they were all so generous and wonderful. And they made creating the documentary so easy because that's who they are. I didn't have to create, what you see is what you get. Just these tremendous, amazing, amazing people.
So I want to bring in Joanna first, and I know we have a clip from the documentary that sort of introduces her a little bit. But do you want to set us up on that clip a little bit, CJ, and then I'll share my screen while you're introing?
Yes, this Joanna, this is a clip that I sent to you not too long ago, and this is in the beginning when we really meet Joanna, and she takes us into her home with her parents, and we talk to her parents, and Joanna and her mom kind of talk about her coming out story.
Okay, great. I'm going to play a clip of that, and then we'll talk to Joanna.
At 21 years old, I was engaged to a man. I was going to get married. I had that stereotypical, perfect life. And he was a great guy, but I knew something just didn't fit me.
We were walking around the neighborhood, and I remember, I don't know what I said exactly, but it was something like, is there something you need to tell me? And she said, yeah. I said, well, you can tell me. It's okay. What do you need to say? And we rounded the corner, and she said, I think I'm gay. And I said, I think so too.
What seemed like overnight, I was then dating women. That's a challenge for my parents to wrap their brains around. But
hold on. Sorry, guys. Technical issue here.
Yeah. I always say that I got hit by the gay stick. So I literally came blazing and flying out of the closet. So I didn't give them much chance to really question it.
It was hard. It wasn't easy. It's a hard process, even when you support it, and you don't realize what you expect from your children until they don't meet it. And I remember saying to Joanna, but I want the house in the suburbs and the white picket fence. And she said, well, that's not going to be it. So I said, yeah.
I want to be just unapologetically myself. I'll get a lot of letters about people who have struggled a lot in their youth, physical abuse, emotional abuse, figuring out who they are as an individual, coming to terms with their sexuality and how their parents feel about that. And just how much I've helped them from being out and open and being proud and not apologizing for it.
That was great, Joanna. Tell us about what you're doing now. You retired from soccer, and you have really taken on this issue of human rights, working, with youth. I mean, you say yourself in the film that you've been given this incredible platform that's so meaningful, and how you've been able to kind of use that in the work that you're doing.
Yeah, no, I love watching those clips back. I love seeing my mom. She's an amazing woman. Someone said to me, your mom looks like someone who would bake really good cookies. And I was like, that's exactly what she does, actually. Yeah, I think, this film, you can see throughout the film that I had a heartbreaking experience when I tore my ACL. So I went from having a strong identity of being a soccer player, and that was supposed to be the best season of my career. And in the 11th minute of the first game of the season, I tore my ACL. So it was like overnight, I had to shift my identity. And serendipity, I had this documentary that I was filming. So I was really able to take on that role of being a true advocate fully from that point on, because I wasn't able to play soccer anymore. And I had a lot of free time, right? I lost my day job. So having that motivation with CJ and with Resisterhood to really get out on the streets and really use my voice in a stronger way, I had always organically been out and proud, and I got incredible responses from so many kids who wanted to be professional soccer players, from fans, about how much just being an authentic soccer player and being proud of who I was meant to them. And then I was able to take it to that next step. So it felt really fulfilling and valuable for me to always get that positive feedback of how much I'm making a difference. And then taking that, not just domestically in the United States, but taking that globally and being able to really expand my voice and get perspective of how, a lot of women live around the world, because I felt safe being gay in women's soccer. It almost comes hand in hand, and, nobody really discriminates against you within the United States if you play women's soccer. But as soon as you go out of our country, you can see that there's so many women who are silenced, especially LGBTQ women. And it was really important for me, as I say in the documentary, to be a voice for all of these women who are forced into silence, and to really help people feel comfortable in their own skin. So taking on a bit of risk myself with the way that I look, the way that I express my gender, hopefully makes someone else who walks behind me more comfortable and safer, because they've already seen this little mohawked lesbian walk through their front door. So hopefully the world is a bit more understanding and a bit more accepting of people who look different from them.
And in the documentary, you call yourself DC's official hype girl, which I love, because, not only are you out there, walking in marches and protesting and being active, but you're up there leading on a microphone.
Yeah, I was so nervous that day when I made the speech that you see in the film. And, it was the second Women's March. So people were expecting to march at a certain point, and the speeches had run way over. So I was one of the last speakers. And as you saw, I completely ripped up my speech, because I really felt like it was going to fall on deaf ears, because people had been standing for so long. And it was almost a blessing in disguise, because I was so nervous to give the actual speech. So then to get up there, rip up my speech, just chant Beyonce lyrics. It was like my perfect role, right? So I was thriving in that role. And it made the adrenaline pump through my veins when they announced my name. You could hear the reaction from the fans. I was already taken aback. And then to really get to initiate that march was a super special thing for me.
So what does your future hold? Do you think you might want to run for office yourself someday?
That's a great question. I'm gonna say yes, but probably not for a little while. I think I still have a lot of work to do on the ground here. I've actually just finished writing a book, which will come out next spring. So I can add that to my resume and continue my advocacy work and activism, and then get into politics when my skin is like really, really thick. You know, you have it has to be the right time when you're ready to hit your head against the wall a lot. So not there yet, but I'm hoping to be there, you know, maybe in the next decade or so.
You can take lessons from Mimi.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I want to bring in Margaret. Let's see if we can get her in here. There she is. And play a little clip from the documentary where, well, you tell us about it, CJ. Set it up a little bit and let us give us an insight on what we're going to see.
Yes. So this is a clip. Everybody who sees this always, at least have, many people who have seen this little section of the film always remark about the fact that Margaret has an Obama room, something that we all should have, I think, but it's just one of those things that that I didn't know about. It's in Margaret's basement, and I guess we were just talking at some point. I think maybe I was talking to her niece, actually, Adrian, and she said, "Did Margaret show you her Obama room?" And I'm like, "No, but she better." And so it's just one of those delightful pieces of Margaret. This is Margaret showing her grandnephew Dallas her Obama room.
Who is the cutest little thing too. I just love seeing him. Okay, let's see if we can play this here.
Dallas, I don't know if you've seen my Obama room. Everything you see here in this little area represents my devotion to maintaining a history that no one foresaw coming, and yet it was here. It was a proud day for a lot of us. You're his picture. I never thought in a million years that white America would vote for a black person. At last, a worth of an individual, a worth of a race is being acknowledged. And that's how I felt. Still feel that glow.
That's great. So, Margaret, welcome. We're so excited that you're here to share your experience. And as I mentioned earlier, you say in the documentary that you have been to 90% of the marches in DC. That's amazing.
That is correct.
I'm getting feedback from you, Margaret. So I'm not sure what's going on with your audio. Let's see. Do you have two windows open, maybe?
No.
I'm getting a big echo back from you.
It's the same as we had when we were talking to
Okay, I'm going to suggest, Margaret, that maybe you dial back in, because I'm getting a lot of feedback from your mic, and I'm not sure why. So can you dial in, and in the meantime, we'll go and we'll talk to Mimi, and then we'll come back to you. I'm going to close.
That's too bad.
It's never easy, right?
Never easy.
So we have, let's see, let me pull up Mimi's little clip and tell us a little bit about Mimi, and we'll play her clip, and then hopefully we'll get Margaret back in the meantime.
Yeah, so this clip comes right after we see that Mimi has decided to run for office, and she's knocking on doors. But what we don't know is the fact that Mimi was the victim of hate speech after Trump was elected. And so this kind of starts with when she reveals that. And while you're pulling that up, I just want to let everybody know, Mimi, were you again a poll watcher today? Oh, wait, you're not, your microphone is off. There you go.
Yes, I was. I was a poll watcher again today, and there was so many people coming, and my baklava story, I was determined that to talk to those Republican people and say, regardless of our political views, we got to learn how to respect one another as a human being. And I offered them baklava. They took it. And then the lady came back with a can of Diet Coke. She said, here, please enjoy the Diet Coke. So, I mean, it was just, it was just, I wanted to let them know, regardless of our political views, we need to learn how to respect one another and open our heart and don't stop this race issue. Racism is embedded in the system. And I am determined, and I'm going to do my best to really make sure that everybody is being treated the right way, because you can have a choice about your religion. You choose your religion, right? Or whatever your beliefs are. But you don't have a choice of your skin color or what you look like. God created you that way. So why is the system treating me different? It's not going to end unless we open our mind, open our heart, and respect each other as a human being. We got to remember, one day when we go under the ground, God is not going to ask you, did you have American passport? You're going to heaven. If you have Egyptian passport, you're going to hell. No, he's going to ask you, have you done what I told you to do? So whatever your beliefs are, or if you don't even believe that there is God, open your heart, open your mind. Let's build the bridges so we can treat each other as a human being.
Yes, and I don't know where Betsy, hopefully she's in New Orleans. And
I'm back.
Are you there? Okay.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, I'm in New Orleans in the middle of a hurricane. So I think I got knocked off, but I'm back. So I do have Mimi's clip I'm going to play. Hopefully this will work here. Let me play her clip. Okay.
After 9/11, people kept saying, you're not scared to wear your hijab and all that. I said, no, I mean, my scarf is invisible to me. But recently, someone looked at me and he said, hey, you lady from ISIS, get out of our country and leave us alone. I feel so bad now that I have to take my scarf off when I'm driving my car because I'm scared about my life. That happens to me in an area where I felt safe, then what would happen to me in an area where nobody knows me? There is a verse in the Quran that talks about we are all get to know one another. Life would be so boring if we all looked the same and did the same thing. Open your heart. We need to learn how to open our heart and mind. People will get together to learn something different. Music, art, food. You don't have to cross the ocean and go visit this country. It's right here in your backyard, your neighbor. Or like baklava. They're across the street from you. We want to build bridges so the next generation, my 15 grandkids, don't have to go through what I'm going through right now.
So Mimi, you mentioned in the clip baklava. Tell us the story of how baklava was instrumental in your sort of political involvement, if you will.
Yeah, well, when I immigrated to this country, I didn't speak a word of English, and my daughter comes back with this back to school night, and she said the teacher told her that I need to go to the school and meet with them. Back to school night is a big thing here in the United States. And I looked at her, what did you do wrong? You've only been in the school for a week. Because I taught them to behave and listen, you know. And she said, Mom, I didn't do anything wrong. But, you know, she told me, tell your mom to come. So I had my next door neighbor who was really my mentor. I ran to her and I said, what's this paper? And she tried to explain to me, it's a big night. I got to go and I got to learn, you know, about what's happening in the school. So I go dressed up, wearing my jewelry, you know, because my identity, my culture told me, you don't leave your home and go to school just, you know, in your jogging suit or your sneakers or anything. And she comes and knock on the door and I open the door. She looked at me and said, oh, you changed your mind? I said, no, I'm coming. She said, you're dressed like you're going to a party. This is a back to school night. It's a boring, long night. Go change your clothes. Don't wear your high heels. I couldn't. I just could not do that because then it's not me. I'm not me. So anyway, I go and I remember walking through the hallway, going to the classroom, and people were looking at me like, where is this lady going? You know, I didn't get it at that time, but later on I understood it. So after the teacher gets up and gave the presentation, and then she said, you need volunteer and all that stuff. And then I said, waited till everybody left because I didn't want to embarrass myself. And I go to her, I said, Mimi, help. And then she looked at me, Halloween table, Valentine table. You're talking a foreign language to me. I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't celebrate Valentine's. So I looked at her and said, me, no Halloween. Me, no Valentine. So, you know, you can tell from body language, what am I going to do with this lady? So she rubs her hands like this and she said, okay, library, books, library. Tomorrow, library, books. So I said, okay, I come tomorrow, library, books. And then she said, wait a minute, can you bake? I said, yeah. I'm a good Egyptian baklava. She said, I'm from Greece. We make baklava. All my broken English came out like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't know where I found those words. But the point of my story here is that when you feel comfortable in the environment you're in, your brain and your mind relax and you can communicate. And a lot of things happen to immigrant people that they are closed in and they can't really feel comfortable because the lack of learning the English. So anyway, make a story short, I did the baklava for a big sale. They made so much money. After my kids graduated, they called me, Miss Mimi, can we have your baklava? So that's my baklava story. So that's why I said food and art are universal language because you can strike any conversations with anybody with that. You don't need to get in politics, but connect on a human being level. So that's the story about my baklava. And everybody now asks me, Mimi, can we have your baklava? If they want to do fundraising, if you want to have a special event, I became Mimi's Middle Eastern famous baklava, and they have a damn thing for it. And that's my story about the baklava. So.
Betsy, I don't know if you were on when Mimi just said she's a poll watcher and she was out today and she brought baklava to the polls today for early voting people and she was handing it out to everybody and the Republicans as well as the Democrats. Everybody likes Mimi.
Everybody and this lady. Yeah. They start asking me, oh, where is it? I said, I'm from Egypt. It's like I said, food is a language that you can talk with anybody about. So yeah, I almost cried when this Republican woman brought me the drink. You know, she said, here, and I love cooking just like you. So
yeah,
it is politics.
And I'm not sure if we've lost Betsy again. So what I'm going to do is see if anybody has any questions. If you do, please ask. And I wanted to say one thing that I wanted to brag on Joanna. Joanna's below me and on my screen, so I'm pointing there. I shouldn't do that. I don't know where she is on your screen. But one thing that we had to change the end of the film, but I had actually shot the endings of the culminating the stories of everyone. And with Mimi, it was her getting sworn in as a candidate. With Margaret and Dallas went and protested together at the climate strike. Joanna was the first person, the Washington Spirit, ever retired her jersey. They retired her number. She is forever 15. No one on the Washington Spirit will ever wear the number 15. And it was on their first ever Pride night. So that was a really, really exciting night. And I meant to bring that up earlier, and I didn't have the opportunity to. So.
Hi, I'm back.
Here we are.
I'm literally in the middle of a hurricane in New Orleans, and all the
Thank you,
lights.
Cheryl, for that plug. Love it.
Yeah, all the lights just went out, and then they came back on. So hopefully, I'm here for a few more minutes. Sorry, thank you for taking over, CJ.
We're making it work. We're gonna make it work. So I don't know if I told people to put questions in. I don't know.
Good. Yeah, we have questions. So let me read some of these while I still have electricity. Let's see. This is from Caitlin. Women have shown up in the past 4 years via marches, activism, and the polls. What do you think we can expect from women in the ongoing 4 years, and what do you hope will happen?
I don't know who wants to take that. Margaret, are you
I'm here, but can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
we can hear
Yeah.
you.
We hear from Margaret.
Oh, good, Margaret.
Yes.
I believe that we will find a continuation of women in the streets from now until we achieve what we set out to do. And I believe that it's ongoing, just like fighting for justice and equality is a never-ending thing. I believe that people in the streets protesting what they believe, what they know to be illegal, immoral, and unequal justice because of a person's skin color will continue to be a real issue, but we're going to solve it. As Joanna said, we are in this together. As Mimi said, we're in this together. That's why Resisterhood came into existence, to fight for what is correct in a world in which we claim to be a representative democracy. And I believe women are going to carry that burden. And it is a burden because it's not something you get up and do easily. It's a continuous and ongoing thing. And as I speak from a long history of violation of the human Black body, I can see changes in that direction also. So yes, women are going to be on the street. They're going to lead as they have always done. Sometimes they're leading, but they're not out front. Their loved ones, their husbands, or their men folk are out front in the old days. Those days are changing, and women are now in the forefront. Think of the Black Lives Matter movement. Think of the Women's March. Think of what happened in 2018 with all of those women being elected to government positions. That's going to continue. It's going to continue in just watch until November 3rd is over. You're going to be surprised at the number of females who will continue to hold posts in the United States government and in state houses around the country. Then I want to go back to an earlier, these clip you showed with the Obama room, because for me, the Obama room takes me back to 1619, which is the beginning of the slave trade in the United States. And so that room signifies more than just the pictures on the wall. That room signifies more than just what you saw. It's a combination of genealogy history, American history, African history, and my personal history, all in one little small space. And because I am a scrapbooker and a genealogist, what you find in the rooms, Cheryl didn't open all of the books, but it's the history of my family, my mother's and my father's, from as far back as I could take it into the mid 1700s into the present day. And this is what I'm bequeathing to my nieces and nephews, the young man you saw in the film, Dallas. They have scrapbooks because I made it for their parents also. So when I think about what's happening, I think about the Black women from long ago in the forefront, seeking justice all of their lives. I think of the 1950s and 1960s. We're all out on the street marching for human rights and for equality. And I think of what's happening today in 2020. I think so many white people who are out in the march with Black people. And believe me, that has not happened in the past. That gives me so much hope. And I see Mimi striving to be one of those people who, with her baklava, is going to make sure that we all come together. And Joanna and I have just bonded because she is a person to behold. Her strength and her courage and just her being is an inspiration to all of us who are human and who have humaneness in our bodies. And so I appreciate what Cheryl has done to bring all of us together, to know that we are one country, no matter where we come from, who we love, how we look, what we do for a living. We're in this thing together. And I can't be more proud of what we have accomplished just in Resisterhood and sharing our stories with a wider audience. So I have so much hope. I hope you can feel it as I talk, because things are changing for the better.
And yes, and I did see Betsy just let me know she's lost power again in New Orleans. The hurricane must be picking up. Hopefully she'll be back with us. And one thing for everybody who's watching, Margaret, after her 84 years and what you have seen, for you to still have hope. Boy, I think about you all the time when I start to feel down. And I think, as you said in the documentary, how did your ancestors get through slavery? If they could do it, I can do it. And I'm looking to you in if you can still have hope, then I certainly should be able to have hope. So you give me hope every day. And I don't know, Mimi, if you, Joanna, you're back. I'm not sure if everybody is seeing everyone. Joanna, do you want to talk to the question about where women are going to take it for the next 4 years and beyond? Joanna, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you.
This has been our technology has been challenging us today. So, I think that having so many women in positions of power with the blue wave that we had in the film, I think you're going to see more women running for those positions, politically speaking, like Mimi, right? Following in Mimi's footsteps, maybe not making the baklava, but getting into those positions so we can move forward. And I see us all just continuing to resist, right? I think we're so fed up. We're so fed up with the status quo. We're fed up with who is leading this country that consistent women's marches, having our voices be heard, in politics also too, like you see in the sports arena, more women really pushing for equality and justice within the sports sphere. So it's having a ripple effect. All of this is having a ripple effect all over the world. And we're going to continue to demand, not just domestically, but internationally, just more equality and more freedom of representation.
Hi, everybody. So Betsy still has no internet connection. I'm Maylin. So I just jumped on to just ask some of the questions right now. So we have, let me see.
Can I comment on women's being involved now? What? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really, and I felt it today when I was at the poll. The biggest mistake Donald Trump did is to make women mad. Because we were so empowered. And we said we're gonna own this. We're gonna make a difference. So every woman now you talk to, they are very energized and they are ready to go, and they want to demand the rights, and they want to have their voices heard. And they are so sick and tired of being on the back seat. They want to have a seat at the table, and they want to write their history. So women are in. Woman, it is the time for us now. And I graduated from a program called Emerge Maryland, which trained Democratic women how to run for public office. And it gave me, I was didn't have the confidence that I had now. But when I graduated from that program, what it did to me is like put all my perspective in a structured way. So when I go out and I talk to people, I know how to present myself. Women normally have the tendency of, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. But you go out there, raise your voice, write our history, demand our right. No one is going to do it for us. We're going to do it. So I encourage all the women there to have a seat at the table and run for public office.
Okay, so I have a question from Sydney. How has this kind of activism changed in the face of COVID? Do you think that some of the new changes that activists have had to adapt to, for example, social media to shine light on certain injustices, will continue in the future, even after COVID is gone?
Yes. I think that activists will use every possible tool that they can, and they're being developed right now because of the pandemic, and in certain ways. We certainly are using Zoom, and activists are using Zoom and different kinds of meetings. I get emails, oh gosh, dozens of emails talking about, we're doing a Zoom, we'll talk about this, we're talking about that. And so it's bringing people together in a way that we haven't been able to get together before. So that, I think, is going to be a real positive, where we can pull in the whole country worth of voices, where it used to be you had to go to a meeting to learn, how to react nonviolently, or how to deflect a difficult situation. COVID it's terrible. I consider myself an activist filmmaker, and and I live near DC, and there's something always going on. I did go down to a candlelight vigil after Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, which was, I just felt like I needed to be there. But again, it's nerve-wracking. And the good thing is, I went to the Women's March last weekend as well. They had a Women's March, and everybody is wearing masks. Everybody has a distance. So people, at least the marches that I've been to, people have been very respectful of COVID. And I think that will continue as long as the pandemic is here. People just have to be really, really safe. I don't know if that really answers the question. It makes it difficult right now. We'll get out of this eventually. But I think that there'll be some tools that we will bring in because of this that will help just be able to grab people throughout the country and organize on levels that we haven't really been able to do before. That's what I'm hoping anyway. But boy, I hope we can get out of this sooner rather than later. This is tough.
Let's see. Here is a question from Isabel, and this is for Cheryl and for everybody. In the hypothetical follow-up documentary to Resisterhood, are there any other activists that you would like to see featured?
I missed a little bit of it. You were breaking up, at least on my computer. Was it something about other activists?
Yes, and like a future Resisterhood documentary, like what other activists would you like to see featured?
Oh, there are so many. I have to say, I was speaking with, Netroots Nation is an online it was online this year. Netroots Nation is the largest gathering of progressive groups, and they come together for 3 or 4 days every year. This year it was online. It was actually where we premiered Resisterhood. And I was talking to a group of people who, kind of like everybody is on here. And I said, I really think that everyone here has their stories. They're all at Netroots Nation because they are engaged. They're passionate about the direction of this country, and every single one of them has a powerful story to tell. I really believe that. And so there are so many different activists. It's been wonderful talking to people about Resisterhood. Last night I was on a panel with a state senator from Washington State. Her name is Mona Das. Remember that name. She is one badass woman, and she is going to be, I could do a documentary on her. She was so wonderful. I met a woman named Ruth Buffalo from North Dakota. She's one of the first indigenous women to be on the state legislature there. beautiful. I just, I would love to tell the stories of these women. There's so many of them out there. And we can throw the question to Mimi and Joanna. And I don't know if Margaret is still with us. If there's anybody that you would like to see. I'd love to tell everybody's story.
I definitely agree with you, CJ. I mean, women are ready. I think that COVID-19 gave us some more time to get organized and also put our perspective and go out and talk about our issues. We were living in a very fast life pace, and we didn't have time, but try to handle your kids and your household and your husband and everything else. It was so much, but now women are fed up. Are really fed up, and they want to see change. And look, the vice president is a woman. Who knows? Maybe we will have a president next time we run. So, women are not giving up. I mean, they're saying we're here to stay, and we're going to make a change. And maybe we will run the country in a better way. I don't know. It's just because we have the tendency of being peaceful, So that's just my own.
We should get a shot anyway. We need to get the shot to see how we do.
Yeah, I mean, this is just my own opinion. But I wanna comment on when you reach out, because why I am trying to reach out to the other side, the Republican now, because I'm scared about what happens if we have him again. It's like, I wanted to let them know, no matter what the result is, please, let's get together and work together. Please, let's build the bridges and have a United States of America is the most powerful country in the world, right? So let's have that image again. That image has been destroyed so bad. And when I was talking to the gentleman, he said, you know what? I never heard somebody talking like you, because I was not attacking. I was trying to educate. Like I always say, education is your passport into integration. Carry your passport with you and educate. That's the only way we're going to win. And be proud of your history.
I'd like to make a remark. In terms of individuals being activists, I think each of us, no matter who we are or where we are, have a story to tell. And each of us is important enough to be able to tell that story. It's not just one individual in a Resisterhood film. We represent whole hundreds and hundreds of other people who believe, as we do, that change is on the way, hope is on the way, a winning philosophy of humaneness and integrity and decency is on the way. And we are the ones who can make it happen. Your vote counts. And for those of you in the audience who are listening, who have not yet made up your mind or who have not yet voted, please know that you are important. Your vote is important, and I encourage you to make your voice heard by voting. You do matter. You are important. One vote after another will make all the difference into how we wake up on November 4th and view the country that we all love. And so my encouragement is to do that. And I don't take one other comment. We all talk about what President Trump has done. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as what the Republican senators have permitted the president to do. Because the president cannot vote on any of the issues the Republican senators could do. So as you go out to vote, and as you think ahead for the midterm elections that are coming in 2022, please don't sit at home and think that a midterm doesn't count. Midterms, in some respects, are more important than who becomes the president, because you're voting for governors, you're voting for senators, you're voting for all kinds of people up and down the ballot, your attorney generals. And these people make a difference in your day-to-day lives, right? In the city in which you live, in the states in which you live, and obviously in the country in which you live. So voting is a privilege, but it's also a right. And you should take advantage of it. Every time there is a vote, take a few minutes, learn what's on the ballot, and vote. It's as simple as that. You'd be surprised what can happen to our world if everybody exercised the right to vote.
So does
Joanna,
anybody
did you have nope.
Yeah, I mean, my dog is currently biting me down on the floor. So this is, if he wants to come on screen, that's what he wants to do. No, I totally agree with what Margaret is saying is, you know, we all have a platform, big or small. And I think what's really inspired me from watching Resisterhood and being in this incredible group of women is that small actions lead to big change. And a small action that we can all take is to vote and to live authentically each and every day and just be the badass women that we are and keep standing up and really representing the good part of this world. And I'm hopeful that we will see change in just a few weeks. I'm desperately hopeful. And even if we don't, I really want to encourage everyone to continue to use their platform, big or small, to keep representing what is good in our country, and that we really are not represented by this person who is in our office currently. So I want to encourage everyone to rise up and to continue fighting for everything that is right.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any last minute things, last words, inspiring words to share?
Well, I would just say again, what we are hoping, I hope I can speak and say that what we're hoping that this film does is inspires people and lets them know that they not only do they have a voice, it's important, and you need to use it. Find what you're passionate about. Go out, make a difference, and it begins next week by voting and then continuing. See where you want the country to go, and find an organization that you can work with to help us move forward. It's going to take all of us, and there's going to be a lot of work we have to do, but it's going to be rewarding in the end, and it's something that we need to do for our children, our grandchildren, and we'll take it from here. And just move in the direction where we all hope to be, and hope that our country will someday rise to the level of what it can be, what we've all aspired. Our founding fathers set us on a path. We haven't made it very far, but I think we can get there if we're all in it together.
And I think of John Lewis in his last days, standing on Black Lives Matter Plaza with a cap that read 1619, 400 years. And I picture him surrounded by a group of young, white, Black, Asian, Latino, indigenous people on the streets of Washington, D.C. And I picture him taking off that cap, 1619, 1400, and along with a baton that he is passing to these young people to carry on the fight that he fought so hard to get us to where we are today. And so my lasting thought, each of us has a baton to pass to the next generation. I passed it along to my grandnephew in the Resisterhood documentary, along with other young nieces and nephews. Each of us has something, a legacy that is everlasting to pass down from one generation to the other, as my parents passed down to me. So I say, use it, take it, get out there, vote, get out there, protest, get out there, write a book. Joanna is going to run for office. She said maybe, yes. Right, Joanna? running for office.
Exactly.
That's my vote already, okay?
I got one vote from you, Margaret.
Yeah, my bug.
Yeah, you really are an inspiration, Margaret. You really inspire us all, and I agree totally, 100% with you. My legacy, I hope my 15 grandchildren will carry it and pass the baton to their next grandkids, and and my hope is that we need to get united. We need to stick together. We need to be open our mind, open our heart, and don't judge people. Don't judge people based on how they look like. Get to know your people. Taste all the spices, the flavor of the spices around the world. Each culture, each country, each community uses different spices, but guess what? It's been used on the same chicken you eat every day, right? That's the chicken, wings, thighs, and breast, right? But when you put teriyaki sauce in it, you're in China. When you put curry sauce in it, you're in India. When you put Middle Eastern spices, 5 spices, they call them 5 spices from the Middle Eastern, you are in Egypt, Lebanese, So try to taste the spices around the whole world and embrace diversity, not divisiveness.
And I'm waiting for Cheryl Crim to do Resisterhood Part 2.
Yes, definitely.
I was just going to tell Mimi she's making us all hungry.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm so thrilled and happy that everybody joined us and stayed with us with our technical difficulties. I hope everybody can hear what has been going on. And I just want to say how honored and pleased I am to have met these wonderful women. They're an inspiration to me every day. And I hope that their stories in Resisterhood inspire everybody who sees it. And
well, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I just wanted to put in the plug that.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the film is on Amazon, so please tell everyone that they can see it on Amazon and spread the word.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I just wanted to give a few final words. Right after this and the broadcast ends, you can go back to the exact same link and watch the replay. So anybody that just wants to watch part of it or whatnot, they can go to the replay. And also just share our next Women on Wednesdays event. It's actually going to be on November 11th, and it's going to be a post-election analysis with the 19th Emily Ramshaw and Amanda Becker. So we hope you'll join us, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for Betsy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay safe, Betsy, and everyone.
Good night.
Be well and be hopeful.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.